With us now is Congressman Adam Smith from Washington. He is the top Democrat on the House Armed Services Committee. Congressman, always great to see you. Why don't you think that the administration has released the text of the agreement that's already been signed digitally with Iran?
Well, because based on what President Trump said would be accomplished in this war, he's going to have a hard time selling the idea that those things were accomplished based on this agreement. What this agreement basically is just an effort to stop the war and open up the strait because of the incredible pressure on the global economy that the disruptions of the Strait of Hormuz have had. It's certainly impacting us, but it's impacting the entire globe, and the president wants that to stop. So that's what the focus of this is. But what about the nuclear program? What about the ballistic missile program? What about the support for terrorist groups? All the things that President Trump promised us were going to be accomplished by this war, which very clearly have not been accomplished by this war. So he's trying to keep it vague so he can spend. But the goal here is get the strait back opened. And one big question is Iran wants some amount of money for doing that. And I'd be really curious to see if this agreement specifies what that amount of money is and where it comes from. This is mostly Iranian frozen assets. The vice president's correct. It's not America giving the money. It's just unfreezing their assets, but something that Trump was adamantly opposed to doing. So I think he's keeping it vague because the results show that this war was a colossal mistake that did not come close to accomplishing what he claimed it would accomplish.
What ways could there be of transferring money to the Iranians that might not be part of this deal? Because the vice president, others have been adamant, oh, there's no money up front here. It's only based on their behavior. But money is fungible. Money is a quirky thing sometimes.
Yeah, well, a couple things. One, I mean, just lifting the sanctions on Iranian oil and I'm not sure, I think it's billions of dollars that would accomplish. So that would be one way of freeing up money. And I don't know all the details of this, but this is something that the Obama administration got involved in. There are frozen Iranian assets from the sanctions that were put in place that are frankly all over the world, also totaling in the billions of dollars. So that money could be released. It's not a payment per se. It's not like we're paying the dreaded toll for ships to go through the Strait of Hormuz, but it is freeing up billions of dollars that Iran would not have access to but for an agreement that gives them access to it.
The president earlier was asked about whether he would send this text that really very few people, if any, have seen to Congress. And I just want to read to you what he said. He goes, "Yes, I would. I never thought about sending it, never even thought about it, but I will. I will send it to Congress. I like the idea. Send it to Congress, please," he said. So what does that tell you about how he thinks about this?
Well, there's two important parts about it. One, obviously, we should see it. I mean, the American people should see it. So just having some transparency around it. But the second piece that's implied in that question is, does Congress have to approve this deal? I'm not sure. I don't think that question is clear. So I think the way President Trump answered that question just sort of points up the fact that he really doesn't think about Congress that much. He likes to act unilaterally, not within the bounds of our system of checks and balances. So he doesn't pay a lot of attention to Congress. He acts on his own, which is, of course, how we stumbled into this war in the first place. Him acting on his own, thinking that a 4-week bombing campaign could break the Iranian regime, when instead what it did is it caused chaos throughout the Middle East, cost thousands of lives, disrupted the global economy, and left us in a weaker position with regard to negotiations with Iran. So yes, tends to act unilaterally, I think, is what that answer makes clear.
Very quickly, what happens if this is it, if this agreement is the final deal, that nothing further is agreed to after 60 days? What would the status quo be for the region and the world?
Well, I think the basic, we have to come up with a different way to deter Iran. That the fantasy that Trump engaged in for the last 3 months was that somehow if we just applied enough force, that would break Iran and we get everything we want. People knew that wasn't going to happen, and Trump stumbled into it anyway. We need a different strategy for how to deter Iran that is not based on the fantasy that military force can eliminate them. And there are options. I don't have time to get into it here. There are options to do that, but that's what we're going to have to do. And frankly, that's what we should have done before we launched this disastrous and incredibly costly war.
Congressman Adam Smith, thanks for being with us this morning. Kate?
An investigation is underway right now after 8